Good afternoon and welcome. It's 3:30 and there being a quorum of council, I call the City Council special meeting of November 14th, 2022 to order. This is a Level 4 Magnet 100 Economic Development Incentive Grant to Charlotte Pipe and Foundry. This is a public hearing. And at this time, I will recognize Chris Platay to introduce the item. Welcome.
Sir. Mayor Pro Tem Anderson, council members, Manager Bourne, I'm very excited to bring before you tonight a Economic Development Incentive Grant request by Charlotte Pipe and Foundry, aka Project Endurance. Before I share the details of the specific Economic Development Incentive Grant for Charlotte Pipe, I'd like to refresh your memories on the Level 4 Magnet 100. We do not give these that often, so I want to make sure you're up to speed again with what this is. The Level 4 Magnet 100 is targeted to companies with the following criteria. Companies that have a broad domestic or global footprint with multiple facilities in which they can put their investments throughout the U.S. or the globe. Companies that manufacture a variety of projects sold within different markets. And then companies that seek to place their manufacturing locations and take advantage of labor, logistics, and also predictability of cost. And that's what this incentive does, is it really provides them an understanding, at least for the next decade, of what they will most likely receive and spend in taxes over the next 10 years. The Level 4 Magnet 100 Incentive Grant targets, again, these types of companies and provides an incentive that other competing locations do not have. So we are, as far as we know, the only one right now that are offering something like this. How does the Magnet 100 work? It basically locks in investments at the Level 4 grant factor, which is our highest level that we provide to companies. The Magnet 100 recognizes a 10-year investment window. So we look out from starting in 23 out for 10 years. And most of our grants are a 5-year window that we look at. And because of this and how we stack the grants, is it basically we administer payments for over 14 years. So it's 5 years basically per year of investment. To qualify, the company must meet certain thresholds. They must invest at least $30 million in the first 3 years. They must achieve $50 million within 7, and then they have to have a cap of $100 million over 10 years. With these built-in thresholds, it encourages current and future investments to come from the company to come to this area, knowing that the level of commitment from our community is at its maximum. And it basically, because this is already pre-incentivized, it allows sort of that gravity to bring other investments. If they're considering something in another location, they're like, hey, we can come here, we already know it's taken care of. These incentive grants are just like all of our other incentive grants. They are performance-based. So if the company does not achieve the investment thresholds, they will then fall down. So all of our incentives have safety nets put into them. So if you don't reach that, you drop to the next one, and you drop to the next one. So they would fall out of the magnet and then go into one of our standard incentive programs. So looking at Charlotte Pipe and Foundry, the Project Endurance is, again, one of our longest serving companies here in Monroe. They're a leader in manufacturing of plastic pipes, fittings, and other things associated with residential and commercial plumbing applications. The Charlotte Pipe and Foundry serves customers throughout North America, but they also have facilities in Texas, Florida, Alabama, Utah, and Pennsylvania, besides the ones that are here in Monroe. Since the 1960s, the company has operated its manufacturing facility off of Old Charlotte Highway, where they have grown to cover over 1.5 million square feet and about 550 employees. Currently, they're producing about 200 or a little over 200 miles of pipe per day. So pretty amazing to think about that. The demand for Charlotte Pipe's product has grown consistently over the years, and as obviously they see the need for further growth because of that continues to have a high demand. The investment will occur if we are chosen, will occur at the locations in Monroe. It entails, if I could speak today, several phases over the next decade that will consist of approximately $100 million or up to $100 million of regular equipment expansions and potentially additional buildings. The company considering the series of, therefore, with the company considering these series of investments, it does qualify for what we call the Level 4 Magnet 100 grant, with its initial capital investment beginning in calendar year 2023. As part of the company's due diligence, they've indicated that incentives are a very important factor in where they're going to end up putting these investments. So the decision for the company will occur after not only this public hearing, but the county's public hearing next week. So with that, the county commissioners will be considering their version, a Step 4 Magnet 100 grant, on the 21st of November. So the Economic Development Incentive Grant that we're considering is an amount not to exceed $2,150,000 over a 14-year period based on the county's tax office's appraisal. For each year, the company's anticipated investment of up to $100 million of building improvements and machinery and equipment. Based on the investment, while holding all other factors constant, including depreciation, the company would pay an estimated ad valorem tax of $5,276,250 over that same 14-year period. The actual tax revenue to the city obviously will be different when you start applying depreciation and other factors and the assessed value from the county. But again, the grant and the what the revenue to the city are married together, so would go up and down together, not to exceed the $2,150,000. As you're aware, we do perform cost-benefit analysis on every project that we do. So over the grant period, the 14 years, for every dollar invested by the city of Monroe in this grant, they would receive back $5.48. So basically it's a 5.48 to 1 over the 14-year grant period. Over the life of the project, which extends beyond that, it's roughly 2.9 to 1. Again, very high number that goes along with this grant. The Economic Development Commission's Board of Advisors reviewed project endurance and have unanimously supported this project and have asked us to bring this before you today. Therefore, the Monroe Union County Economic Development Commission's Board of Advisors and the EDC staff recommend the award of a Level 4 Magnet 100 performance-based grant incentive to Charlotte Pipe and Foundry in the amount not to exceed $2,150,000 to secure this $100 million investment. At this time, I'd like to recognize Mr. Chad Griffin. He's Senior Vice President, Plastics Division at Charlotte Pipe, and he's here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, council members, Mayor Pro Tem, City Manager.
Well,
Any questions? Thank you.
glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
Any
you
questions
guys may
from
have?
council? Any questions or comments?
Only thing I could do to him is to thank him for being here.
Absolutely.
What they did back in '09, Mr. Dow was there then, right? As bad as our economy was, they never laid off one employee. You don't find a company that will do that very often, so thanks for believing in Monroe and continuing to invest.
Thank you, sir. And it's exciting to note that our 5th generation of the Dow family is now part of the ownership. So we continue to grow the ownership, and they're committed to our local community. And one dated number, we're over 600 associates now. So we have grown significantly. As you drive by, you've seen some growth over there currently going on.
Well, we sincerely thank you for your investment here in Monroe.
Thank you, and thank you for the consideration of existing industry and not just focusing on new industry. We really appreciate the fact that we've been around, I say since 1967. We built it in 67, started running it in 68, but we appreciate your consideration for existing industry as well as new industry. So thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Mayor Pro Tem, you have noticed there's one thing they all three got a little shiny head.
Classy looking, right?
Working too hard. He's working too hard.
That's what we said, the brain power.
Right.
Okay, so I do not have anyone signed up to speak. So at this time, since there are no speakers, I will close the public hearing and move to take action.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution which awards a Level 4 Magnet 100 incentive grant to Charlotte Pipe and Foundry and authorize the city's legal staff to develop the incentive grant agreement and authorizes the mayor to execute the completed incentive grant agreement.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that's a unanimous vote. Okay. I believe that is the only motion that we have to make.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Great.
And thank
We
you.
got one more motion, Mayor Pro Tem, to adjourn.
All right. Second. Have a motion to adjourn and a second. Raise your right hand if you're ready to go.
Thanks to you guys too.
But thank you all so much for what you do.